So I played the 3 Elder Scrolls games, Morrowind, Oblivion and Skyrim in this last year, and I already made videos talking about my top 3 things that I liked in Morrowind and in Oblivion, and so now it is time to tell you my top 3 things that I liked the most in Skyrim and that I think that this game did better in the whole series. And now while Skyrim does a lot of things very well, the first thing that I gotta talk about is the exploration, man. And I'm not talking about the open world specifically, I'm talking about the exploration. What Skyrim did, in my opinion, is it really mastered the art of rewarding exploration. I talked about this in my review of the game. When you just roam the open world and you see some interesting thing or an interesting location, you always find something useful. The game really shows you, go explore this world, it will be worth it. A lot of games are like that, you keep on exploring, but you don't get anything out of it, which kind of takes away the whole joy of exploring. But Skyrim really makes exploration so rewarding that you keep on exploring because you know you're gonna get better loot, gonna meet interesting characters, or have fun quests that you rather wouldn't have if you didn't explore the open world. You know, from ancient ruins to hidden caves or just towering mountains, literally it feels like every corner of the map it feels like it holds secrets just waiting to be discovered. And the game's open world design really makes exploration seamless because it has unique landmarks like Blackreach or the Throat of the World that really capture our imagination and makes us want to explore the open world even more. But also the random encounters, whether it is with dragons or characters that we meet, or just the dynamic weather, breathtaking views, really make wandering through Skyrim endlessly engaging and immersive. And it doesn't really feel like a chore to explore this open world, it really feels like something that is really rewarding. And after exploring for 3 or 4 hours, I didn't think to myself, what did I do the last hours, like I unfortunately did in a couple of other games that I played. Afterwards, after exploring, you really improve very drastically because you just gain so much experience, so much better loot. And I literally found better loot in some random locations than compared to the loot that I had beforehand, that I found in quests, for example. And I really loved the fact how the exploration was rewarded in this game, and I would hope that a lot of other games kind of take it as an example, because like that, many more open worlds would get much more and better discovered. Now the second thing that we're going to talk about today is one thing that I talked about a lot in my review of Skyrim, and is one thing that I will talk about a lot. It is the soundtrack of Skyrim. The soundtrack of Skyrim is probably one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard, not only video games in general. Every single track on this soundtrack is a masterpiece. You know, you have tracks like Streets of Whiterun, you have tracks like Secunda, you have Dragonborn, you have so many incredible tunes. I literally listened to the soundtrack for like a couple of months on repeat because I loved it, and you feel like you're exploring your world even though you know, like literally I was buying something, for example, in a supermarket with this soundtrack on. Bro, I felt like a wanderer, like a mystic wanderer going into a medieval market. It literally was that crazy. And while Morrowind's soundtrack, especially the main theme, is also great, the Oblivion soundtrack is also superb, the depth and quality of the Skyrim soundtrack is just something you cannot mess with. I would rank it probably in my top 3 all-time video game soundtracks, if not maybe even the best of all time. Literally, Jeremy Soule did such an incredible job with the soundtrack, and it captured the whole atmosphere of the game so well. It made just wandering around so much more epic. Maybe that's also a big point why the exploration was so much fun, because you're just walking around and then suddenly you hear the Streets of Whiterun in the background, or you hear From Past to Present, which is another great soundtrack. You hear a lot of tunes in the background of this video, so you know what I mean. But literally the soundtrack, one of the most underrated aspects of video games nowadays, in this game was simply something out of this world. And I don't know if they're going to take Jeremy Soule again for the Elder Scrolls 6 whenever it comes out. But after such a masterpiece, I was very surprised that they didn't book him, or other developers didn't book him more, because that what he created in this game was an absolute masterpiece, and while the other soundtracks were also made by him, obviously way before Skyrim, were also great, this one is just simply breathtaking. I'm gonna rank the soundtracks as well and talk to you about which one of the other ones I like, but Skyrim for me is just the best one out of them all, maybe even in the whole video game franchise. And now the last thing, the best thing that I have for you is the combat. And now the combat is a part of the gameplay. In my opinion, the gameplay was also much more improved in Skyrim rather than in Oblivion and Morrowind, but the combat was quite a big change. Now Elder Scrolls, even Skyrim, I talked about it, it is not known for having great combat, and when it comes to the weaknesses and strengths, you definitely wouldn't rank the combat as a strength of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, but compared to the other games in the series, Skyrim really improved the combat by making it more dynamical, more visceral, and the kind of addition of, dual wielding weapons and spells allowed for greater customization and really this playstyle experimentation. You could really play in completely different ways however you want to play, but the features like cinematic kill cams or dragon battles really added this epic flair to fights, which we didn't have before that, and it made combat moments feel kind of intense and much more rewarding than beforehand. It definitely isn't as deep and as great and as in a lot of other RPGs, but Skyrim's combat was really great at balancing accessibility with engaging mechanics, but it is definitely not one of the best combats you will ever see. However, compared to the other games of the series, it was definitely a step up, and especially also the gameplay of the game. However, I wanted to focus more on the combat. The gameplay, we'll talk about that one more in one of my upcoming videos where I'm gonna rank all of the 3 games and tell you which one was my favorite one. However, the combat compared to the other games was definitely a big improvement. Alright guys, that were my top 3 things of the Elder Scrolls 3 Skyrim. We're almost ready with the Elder Scrolls. Obviously my final video of me ranking the 3 games, and my probably last video, which will be if the whole journey playing Morrowind, Oblivion and Skyrim was actually worth it in the end, as I do with my other series that I play. And I'll make another video about the soundtracks and rank those. However, we're almost done with the series. I want to know, what are some series that you have in the future that I should play? For me, I'm playing Kingdom Come Deliverance right now. I'm almost finished with the game because the second game will come out in a couple of days actually. But I have a lot more series planned, like GTA, like Elden Ring, like God of War. So tell me your opinions down in the comments. Assassin's Creed is a series that I have already played a couple of years ago, but will definitely be replayed in the future on this channel. But tell me your opinions on this video. What are your top things when it comes to the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, and what do you think this game actually made better than the other 2 games? As always, tell me your opinions down in the comments and I'll be very happy to read those. Alright guys, that was it from me in today's video. I wish you all an amazing day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.